Hey, hi. While it's being set up, this is actually my old school. I graduated here in 1993. When I left the doors, I never thought I'd actually come back. So hello, Methodist College. Anyone else from Methodist College? Yeah. This is not up yet. Just the slides first. This is at the end. Just the slides first. Okay, so I'm at TEDx. I'm talking about Kiva. Actually, the two are related. A couple of years ago, actually no, just last year actually, I used to work for a telco with a funny little yellow man. And sometime during that time, while I was trying to sell prepaid cards to everyone, I saw this great TED video. Has anybody seen the Stefan Segmeister Power of Time Off? Jeffrey, you too, huh? And it was pretty awesome. Basically what he said was, why put all the things that you want to do in your life shelf till you retire? Why don't you just splice them in between your working years? And I thought it was just an awesome idea, because I had a lot of stupid dreams from when I was, locked up here at Methodist College. So on my 35th birthday, okay, it's not a very pretty process, but somehow or other, want to write a book, be a poet, work here, work there, live in a shack, be a dive master. But I ended up in Kiva. And Kiva, for some strange reason, I applied to West Timor, and they said, no, go to New York instead. But that's just me. That's the relation between TEDx and Kiva and Methodist College, which I think is really weird. So thank you, Sulin, for asking me to tie all those three things together. To explain Kiva, you have to explain the problem that Matt Flannery, Jessica, and Premel looked at when they were bright-eyed Stanford kids. And they saw the problem of poverty. Poverty far away, poverty in urban poverty, and poverty right at home with joblessness and homelessness all around the US as well. And oh no, this is not going to be good. Don't try and read that. And they said it's sometimes so hard when you look at all the problems in the world, you get paralyzed. You get paralyzed by the fact that half the world lives under $3 a day. But it's easy to forget that as individuals, you have the power to change things. That's the new guy I have a crush on, called Premel Shah, who's the president of Kiva. So this thing I'm going to try and do in 18 minutes is in two parts. How does an individual, just somebody like us, 18 years old, or somebody who's 70 in the room, look at the world and say, how do I affect that as an individual? I'm going to look at two parts, and Kiva is obviously part of the answer because that's why I'm here. Part one, individuals changing individual lives, and part two, can individuals actually influence the machine that you just mentioned to change more things, okay? First, here's the option. When we're looking at the problem of world poverty, homelessness, all these kind of things, the answer usually is, hey, for a cup of Starbucks coffee, you can feed a child, for a week or a week and a half. And that's usually what we respond to. Everybody asking for donations, you get cornered by the WWF guy to say, sign up your credit card and everything. And you do it because part of you tells yourself, I want to help out in the world, but part of you is really saying, I'm donating to buy my right to go on with life, to go on with my affluent day, to go on with my, I drive a car, I spend money on Starbucks, I'm donating or I'm signing up my credit card. Really, it's my right to just go on. So that's option one. The founders also said, okay, that's option one. There's option two, which is feel powerless. Or can we do something, build something that actually matters? And this is the startup team all the way back until 2004. They had gone to see Muhammad Yunus, who won the Nobel Prize for proving that you can lend to poor people small amounts of money and they can start a business and pay you back. And because they were from Stanford, they grew up in the high-tech world, they worked for PayPal, they kind of combined the lending clubs that were going out, peer-to-peer lending in the US, PayPal, and of course all the web marketplaces, for anything from eBay to Amazon, to say, is there an answer in all of this stuff? Can we take Muhammad Yunus's idea, add the Viagra of technology, and do something special? The first time they did something special, it was so small. They spent a couple of months in East Africa and decided Uganda was going to be the place they start. They started with 5 people. This is Elizabeth Omala. She's the first Kiva borrower. She is a widow and she has 11 dependents, literally, like 11, 8 children and 3 other relatives that depend on her income. And she was selling fish on a day-to-day basis. She borrowed $500 merely to do 2 things: buy a freezer and go further away to buy wholesale fish. So therefore, she became more profitable, she lowered her cost of goods, and she became an entrepreneur that was out of the day-to-day cycle of hand to mouth, okay? $500. She paid back the $500, and today they went back to track that story. One of my colleagues went back to Uganda to track Elizabeth Omala, and she's actually selling goats, sheep, chicken, everything else, which is kind of cool. Like, she's a big tauke now in Uganda. So that was the first borrower. In that first time, they only lent out using this internet, like a very, very primitive internet web interface. Loans going through Kiva is 461 million. This is from people like you and me. 1.1 million entrepreneurs, 72 countries, and this is the great thing. Majority of these loans go to people who didn't qualify for normal bank loans, or who would have to pay 35% for normal bank loans. But the repayment rate for these so-called risky borrowers in low-income countries is 99.98%. I think that's slightly better than some European countries, right? So it's a model that's proven to be large. It uses the power of individual small change, and it actually is seeming to work. Poor people want to repay back. All they need is a little bit of capital that's affordable to lift their business out of the poverty cycle. This is a fun thing that I used to do when I was in the San Francisco office, is just watch this go by. They project it on the wall. It's called live loans. So you can see how many, when I did a screen cap, it was 2.54 loans per minute. But essentially, the lender over here, I'm not reading my glasses, but somebody in San Francisco just lent to somebody in the Philippines called Lourdes, and it was an agriculture loan. So you can actually see loans being done live. The reason for that is actually Kiva wanted to demonstrate the amount of power that ordinary folks sitting at their desk during lunchtime doing lending actually do. Kiva lends roughly, I mean, Christmas is major lending season in Kiva, but on average throughout the year, 1 million every 3.5 days, 3 days, okay? And that's kind of interesting because I told you just now that it's 1.1 million entrepreneurs funded, and it's roughly about 1 million people like you and I who lend $25 a piece each time. So if you look at that, I mean, my math is pretty bad because Methodist College didn't teach me that well, but that's a 1-to-1 ratio, roughly, give or take a couple of dimes. So if that's a 1-to-1 ratio, one guy lending $25, and I don't know about guys, but the girls definitely have $25 stuffed inside our wallets or purses or fallen into some skirt somewhere. Each one of us can directly influence one person's life, roughly. I mean, that's the ratio. And that's kind of cool because that's modern alchemy. You can actually turn that useless spare change with all the coins into small business capital. So that's about individual, you and I, times 1 million of us in influencing individual entrepreneurs, times 1 million of them. So 1-to-1. Part 2 is there something else that this money can do? It's money, yes, but it's a very different kind of money. Can Kiva partner the global crowd to disrupt the way social lending works? And the cool thing about crowd lending is actually the money comes from a crowd. Why is that important? The money comes from a crowd, therefore it's unique. It's a do-good money. It's not to get interest back. It's small amounts of $25, so it's very, very little risk. You diversify your list across, 16 entrepreneurs. Therefore, you're very high risk tolerance. If your intention is about altruism and you're spending very small amounts of money, you have very high risk tolerance compared to any financial institution, even non-profit financial institutions. And the base is so large, 1 million of you. Sometimes they lend for religious reasons, sometimes they lend for gender reasons. There's a big lending base with different philosophies. Therefore, this Kiva capital, 1 million every 3 days, was uniquely placed to test game-changing social innovations. There's this thing called Kiva Labs. I'm not going to go into what Kiva Labs does, but there are a couple of things that Kiva is testing and learning right now. And they're telling the crowd, give us that money so that we can test what works for the rest of the micro-lending universe, okay? Tests are happening in higher education, green and energy, women, conflict areas, and low-cost scalable technology, which is what I worked on, okay? Just very quickly, conflict zones. You know that the minute a war happens, money rushes out of the country. So anybody that's in there that's already, having problems, small businesses already having problems, they're going to have no liquidity to borrow against or to fund their businesses. Kiva invites people like you and I with a little bit more high risk tolerance to say, fund that money even though it's high risk. Fund entrepreneurs in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Sierra Leone, okay? And this is Sham. She's actually a woman seamstress, and she's still buying a sewing machine right now in Iraq with Kiva money. This is also really interesting. Student loans in East and South Africa, nobody wants to give low-income students student loans because they take 6 to 10 to 20 years to repay, and nobody knows whether they're going to repay it. So student loans from low-income groups require long loan terms, and they require long grace periods. A grace period means a period where you don't repay back money. Nobody else will lend this money, but you and I can, okay? And because of this, these guys are actually going to go to school. These are the pilot group at something called Maha Twister, I'm going to get it wrong, but in South Africa, okay? The other thing is, can you also do a loan that doesn't come in money? Can you actually work with a biodigester company, not a bank, and actually the loan doesn't come in, in an envelope or a check. It actually comes in this physical thing called a biodigester that takes cow poop and turns it into fertilizer and energy. So they work with a biodigester company called Sistema Biobolsa in Mexico, and somewhere else, some other place in the world, I forgot. And the loan actually comes to the farmer in the form of a biodigester and in training to use the biodigester. And the guy pays back Kiva lenders in cash, okay? This one is close to my heart because this is in New York and this is with Zip. Mikey is a formerly incarcerated guy who sold drugs and then went to an entrepreneurship program, and he's really brilliant, but nobody would lend him money because he was in prison. But he had this idea to do a micro creamery with pop culture flavors, and Kiva lenders decided to lend him the money. And today he's already got 3 carts and he's selling gourmet ice cream, okay? So this is just Zip. In terms of the reason Zip exists is actually to see whether there's a way that non-profit institutions don't just mean well. They can do it efficiently. They can do good efficiently. Non-profit lending, can we get the cost of administration down using mobile, using PayPal, and using no bank infrastructure, okay? The short version of this is that the Kiva Zip cost today is 0.25. That's already half the cost of a normal microlending institution in the States, and that's only 18 months in. The profile of microlending also is much more startup and much more ethnic minorities and people without college degrees, which people who would never otherwise be able to get loans in the US, okay? And these are people we partner with. Instead of banks, instead of microfinance institutions, we partner with potentially millions of these kinds of groups, anything from a church to a university to a tech incubator to a good meaning individual to endorse borrowers they think are trustworthy enough to pay back. And by 2016, we're on track to be bigger than the microfinance institutions collectively in the US, okay? If it's successful, the cool thing is you can export it anywhere else in the world. PayPal is big, or M-Pesa mobile payments is big. And that's the dream. So the part 1 was each one of us can directly change lives by turning spare change into small business capital for one person, or by fueling experiments that help the rest of the industry. I wanted to ask very quickly, in a few seconds, whether I can try. Do you guys want to try doing that live? Yes, okay, cool. I need help. Change the slides to the internet one. Okay, I need a volunteer. Where do you want to lend today? Tell me what you want to lend to. Do you want to lend to a woman? Do you want to lend to Africa? Do you want to lend to Central Europe who doesn't, Men in Central Europe with beards get the least amount of money if you want to help them. Oh, sorry. Here? Yeah. Okay. So, come on. Somebody give me some place to lend to. I'm going to go. This is kiva.org. Okay, Susan, since your voice is so loud. Susan? Okay, here are your choices. This is the Kiva site. You can choose to ignore gender, be gender neutral, but you can choose for sectors. Agriculture, arts, clothing. You can also choose for attributes. Green, higher education, Islamic finance, startup, water and sanitation, fair trade, blah, 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 blah. Water and sanitation for $5, please. And, Susan, would you like to choose a borrower with my money? With Sulin's money. Yes, it's my money. So do you want Catalina? Do you want to do anything else? Do you want to do man-woman? Maybe what man-woman sanitation? Woman. Oh, crap. Yeah, you're right. Okay, okay, Catalino. Let's try Catalino. So Catalino, we'll click on him first very quickly. Yay, good internet. So Catalino is 64. He lives in Pura. He has 2 children. Second paragraph, on his own initiative and with much effort, Catalino sells agricultural produce on a small plot of land. He wants to be able to build bathroom facilities, okay, for the first time, and therefore give his family on his farm greater security. So that's actually one of the things that they actually do as well. This is not usually that common, but it's an entrepreneur who's building better shelter. And that's a use for microfinance as well. I'll just click Lend 25. His loan is 18% funded, meaning he still has like 80% more to go. Hi? What happened? I added it to my basket. Oh, I know why. It's logged out. I've been logged out since. No. Facebook connected in. And to all the people from DG, please, I'm logging out of here before I get out. Horrible people in DG. So I have 91.78 in available credit. This is money that people have paid back to me from the loans that I have lent out. Okay, so I have $91. It means I can do 4 loans. All right. So I'm going to re-lend this credit. Hello. We've lost Catalino. Okay, never mind. We'll lend to a mom in Cambodia, okay? To buy fertilizer, seeds, and pesticides. I would have preferred to look for an organic loan, but it's all right. Okay, and now I can check out. So, Catalino is there. Okay, now I'm lending too. Okay, and I'm going to dedicate this to the Malaysia team now because Colbert doesn't need more money. So I've just put mom and Catalino, who wants a new bathroom. Leave this page. Why? No. Continue. Stay on this page? Stay on this page. Okay. Then leave. Okay. This feels like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and the crowd is wrong. Come on. We want to change the bathroom and give somebody some seeds. Bathroom is funny. I've never bought help with a bathroom before. Well, I like to think that the money is now. Well, if you trust me, I will actually access to the network. I will, since you guys, Susan chose the bathroom and we chose also the mom in Cambodia, I will promise and put it on Facebook once it's complete that I actually completed the loan that you guys have chosen, dedicating it to Malaysia. If you want, kiva.org, if you want to learn more about lending, go to kiva.org. If you want to find out a little bit more about volunteering and taking some Stefan Stegmeister time off, come look for me. Thank you very much.